What's going on, everyone? In this video, we're going to give our review of Akudama Drive. I've been talking about giving it a while ago of my thoughts and what my general consensus is of the anime, but I didn't think it was very fair for me to just do it myself. I wanted a second opinion from someone else who's a fellow otaku who's out there trying to really, give that deep dive, get that senses. So introducing, if you don't know him, you know him now.
What's
Big
going
Jinx,
on,
my
man?
man.
This is the Big Zaddy of anime, Big Jinx. It's a pleasure to be with Mr. Red on this special occasion.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, like I said, man, Akudama Drive, man, it's a 12 episode anime. Right now, you can view it on Hulu, and it's a very interesting anime, so to speak. It's a lot of different characters, a lot of different action elements within the anime. It really wowed me from the start. What initially grabbed me to watch that anime was little clips that was put on Twitter of the action scenes where Brawler was out there fighting, and I was like, man, this whole cyberpunk feel, it kind of reminds me of a mix of Cowboy Bebop and Ghost in the Shell with that cyberpunkness. And I was like, man, this might be a little bit something I jumped into. And literally, I was on it every single week, watching a new episode going down, checking out Swindler, checking out Hoodlum, the Doctor, all the characters together, just going down this story, man. What's your
Well,
thoughts?
I mean, I really like the new age feel of it, right? You have the anime is pulling towards that that new age kind of design, very futuristic, bright lights, bright everything. What really caught me was the trailer. I had watched a bit of the trailer on YouTube. Heard mixed reviews about it, but watching it actually was very interesting. Overall, I honestly like I gave it a 6.3. It was a good anime. I don't think it's one of those animes that are gonna go down in one like the history books, but I mean it's definitely for what it was. It was definitely a solid anime. And it was a good watch for the most part.
So let's break it down while we hitting that 6.3. Because in my head, I'm thinking there's a lot of things that pissed me off about that show. I was thinking like a 7 to 8 being generous on the good episodes, but let's just talk about this. So first of all, let's go to the key factors of the show. If I was just to watch this show and skip to a few parts, it'd just be the action. I mean, hands down, the action scenes in there is just the draw. The fight scenes with Brawler, a courier, shooting off people, and just it was really intense, and the artwork was really high styled. But then I felt like it was like a ebb and flow of the action sequence and the story, and the pacing just seemed kind of awkward because in one episode you'd have a lot of action. They're fighting the executioners. Then the next episode we're talking to brother and sister and not really doing anything. And I'm just like, this should all be skippable. Like I'm not just to be shrunken down to 5 minutes. Like F them kids. At the end of the series, I was like, F them kids. I don't mess with no kids. Like F them.
Overall, I completely agree. It was the problem was like the story was very weak. At the end of the day, the story got very weak. You start with these like the 7
cliche
characters, and I mean, my thing was you had Brawler, who's supposed to be the big guy, the fighter, obviously. Cutthroat, the sadistic sociopath, who just wants to kill people, and the medical seductress. It was like when you had like the 7 characters, I thought about like the 7 deadly sins. I got like the premise of the Akudamas, the bad guys, the criminals, and they're fighting the justice, the police. But it was just a weak story. It didn't capture my attention throughout all 12 episodes, and it got confused. It got kind of convoluted, honestly. It was a little
right around 7-8, right around that 7-8 period. That's when it was like
when they start introducing the kids, because you're like, okay, I get it. You guys are on this mission to do something. Then you see it's involving the kids, and then you really don't really get a good explanation about the kids and what the hell they're about. Like, what the fuck are they? It got to like the later episodes, and still even standing here, it's like, did you really understand what the kid's role is? So it kind of lost me. I mean, honestly, during some of the episodes, particularly in the beginning and a little bit towards the end, around episode like 9 or 10, it kind of started like losing my interest. And I was like, well, where are we at right now? Like, come on, let's wrap this up. And I mean, honestly, why they had Swindler have such a big role? I mean, I get it; she was supposed to be the protagonist. I wasn't feeling Swindler. Like, I didn't feel that as a main role right there. I think they could have done better.
So, before we continue, let me go ahead and put this out here. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Like, if you haven't seen this, and you trying to see if you want to watch this or not, you got our scores. 6.3. I'm thinking like 7. You got our scores. If that's good enough for you, I would say watch it. You got time, go ahead. But from here on, it's all spoilers. So you might want to skip to the end if you got to. Do what you got to do. So check me out. The way I thought Swindler was done was I thought Swindler was supposed to be the character that, you could put your own shoes in. She was in a lot of unfavorable situations. Now, when it first started off, she was gonna buy the onigiri, whatever the hell she was trying to buy at the time, got the money, tried to give it back, and a whole bunch of series of unfortunate events kept falling upon her. But I'm with you, because at a point in the series, it went from, I'm in this circumstance, how the hell I get out of it, into more like, yeah, I could save these kids, I could do this, that, and the third. And I was just like, out of change, like, you are a normal person. You ain't got no powers. Like, you just a swindler. And then the next thing I know, at the very end, you sacrificing yourself. And I'm like, dang, what happened to your family? Like, what happened to all this? Like, you had a whole life. And it was all for these kids that you just met. Like, that's what you want to do? Like, this ain't like, the character development went from, oh, I can't believe I'm doing this, to, oh, yeah, we finna go with it.
Zero. Like, it was zero character development for every single character. I mean, the thing with the Swindler was like, yeah, you're right. Like, she got caught up in a bad situation, and then, all this stuff started happening. But out of everybody, she's the one who, like, survives. I mean, towards the end, until she sacrificed herself. But she was the one who survived at the end, well, towards the end, like the longest out of everybody, which was confusing, because I'm like, how are you still alive? You don't have, like you said, you have no traits. You have nothing to contribute here. You didn't even contribute ideas. You just sympathized for the little kids who you didn't know and were willing to risk it all, your whole life, for kids you didn't even know. So yeah.
So let me ask you. They explain the kids at the very end, they have the power for this regenerative power, and they're able to regenerate and not be harmed. Why did they want them? Why did the city want them?
Apparently, I mean, from what I understood, apparently it was which is the trouble, right? You're still stuck, like, why did the city want them? Apparently it's supposed to be some kind of ritual sacrifice for the computer to continuously evolve. They called it, I guess it was like their god or whatever, for the system to continuously evolve and be able to handle the load of I don't know what you would call it, but it was all for the system as a whole. And because these kids had immortality, they couldn't die. It was supposed to be some kind of like form of creating a godlike being or a computer-like system. And it's at the end, it was like it was trying to assimilate the children and their abilities to heal and to be immortal and to survive. But it just gets lost in the translation. Like, you don't really fully understand it. And that's the biggest issue with the show. I mean, it just wasn't clear, like, what the hell they were doing with the kids. And you have to kind of surmise, like, I guess that's kind of what I see. That's kind of what I'm getting up, what I'm picking up from here. But then it honestly, it didn't really pan out.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. See, like a series, like, let's just say we took that and put it into like maybe a 26 episode series when they have a little bit more time to flesh it out and talk about it, cool. But the story of that was done within 2 episodes. The flashback scene, and literally when they're in the deep space area with Hacker, and he's in the system at that point, and then they're going, hey, this is what wants to happen, and that's it. So I feel like they didn't really have enough time to flesh it out, but at the same respect, they didn't have enough strength to carry the series past 12 episodes. Like, y'all knew what y'all was doing. Y'all killed off all the characters one by one. I started seeing that as soon as we killed off Cutthroat, or we killed off the second person doctor. I was like, okay, I'm starting to see where this is going. We're gonna just kill everybody off one by one. Like, this is really about to happen. But it just missed a lot of nails on the head, and I'm not gonna say it was a disappointment for that, but at the same time, with the production value that you're given, I mean, obviously between the audio, everything that's going on with the art design, I was hoping a little bit more would come out of that, but
I agree, man. And you pointed out the issue exactly. You did 12 episodes with a story that should have been 26. However, the story was too weak for you to do 26 episodes. So you couldn't flesh it out. So you had to rush it and try to pack all this stuff into a series of 12, because if the story's weak, you're not going to have a longevity series. You're not going to have a long series, which is your usual like 26 episodes. But with the story being so weak, and then you try to get it all into this little ball, you rushed it. It was a rush job where the story won't fully come out, and then people have to try to piece everything together. And then if you lose interest, which I did in parts of the middle, some of the episodes I kind of just left it playing and glanced over at a few times, then you're left with, oh man, did I just miss something? Did I miss something important? And then you get lost. And it's easy to get lost in that kind of a series because it's so convoluted at times.
What's your final thoughts, man? What are we leaving?
Honestly, I gave it a 6.3. I think it's a good anime as far as it will keep your attention from time to time. I think the biggest flaw with it is the story, in that there's no character development for any of the characters. I mean, you might get something out of Courier, who had a very interesting role in the anime, but overall, man, it's not something that's going to go down in the history books. It's going to be I'm predicting it's going to be a 1 season thing. You're not going to see this come back in season 2. All of a sudden there's new Akudamas, or they're going to focus on the opposing side, the executioners, and even their role was very weak. Honestly, you really didn't see nothing about them, but it's an okay anime. Great. I wouldn't say great, spectacular graphics, but it was definitely on the upper end of graphics, and they used the bright lights to try to bring you in, but overall, it's not an anime you'll pass on. I don't think it's an anime you should pass on. It's an anime that you watch and then you let it go fall into history.
I mean, I can't even say it better than you did. I mean, word for word, literally, that's pretty much what it is on that one. Like, you dive in, you watch it, or you don't watch it at all because, you just want to waste your time. But it's at least worth playing in the background while you do some other things, parlay, play video games or whatever. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the description down below. Leave a comment. If you're new to this channel, go ahead, hit the subscription button. I'll go ahead and link Big Jinx's YouTube channel on there too. I'm not going to call him a Zaddy because that's awkward. But once again, guys, appreciate you guys watching. Leave a like, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. We'll be back with further reviews. Catch you guys later. Peace.
The game's over.